The Terminal List, Dark Wolf Episode 4, The Sound of Guns, continues the origin story of Ben Edwards' first jobs as a CIA field agent after his dishonorable discharge from the Navy SEALs. That said, it takes a handful of frivolous detours along the way, some that place its star character in the backseat of the narrative. After a 3-episode Dark Wolf premiere that revealed why Edwards and fellow former SEAL Rafe Hastings were dismissed, both characters find themselves in a covert fight to suppress nuclear technology from advancing in Iran. Set in the not-so-distant past of 2015, The Terminal List, Dark Wolf has established itself as a true spy thriller, containing hardly any psychological elements that drove James Reese's revenge-fueled journey in The Terminal List. While the two series are obviously connected by the same story world, Dark Wolf Episode 4 proves that this prequel is very much grounded in Ben's story, even though much of the focus thus far has been placed on the slate of new supporting characters around him. While some insights are revealed about Ben in Episode 4, the show arguably spends too much time away from, and not deep enough inside the mind of, its most interesting character. Ben's backstory is marked by betrayal in Dark Wolf Episode 4. Taylor Kitsch's Ben and Rona Lee Shimon's Eliza having a conversation with their faces close in The Terminal List, Dark Wolf. The biggest development in Dark Wolf Episode 4 is Eliza's betrayal of Ben and Haverford's entire covert unit. This is a major parallel to Ben's eventual betrayal of James and the Navy SEALs team that was ambushed at the beginning of the original series. Another interesting reveal in Dark Wolf Episode 4 was when Ben explains to Rafe that he has fundamental issues with the way things are handled in the military. This new job makes him feel much more empowered, being able to take things into his own hands. This new flexibility also comes with massive risk, as Ben discovers when Eliza shoots him in the back 3 times, leaving him for dead and escaping with the nuclear tech. This betrayal suggests that Ben has grown to see betrayal as a part of the game when it comes to the world of espionage and intelligence, removed from notions of honor and loyalty that were ingrained in the military. That said, he hardly knew Eliza and was a bit reckless in trusting her so quickly, but that's just how Ben likes to play his cards, for better or worse. Rafe became increasingly suspicious of Haverford ahead of the big episode for Mission after he staged a convoy hit in an allied country based on single-source intel. He also started to question Ben's character, rightfully so, forcing him to realize how he's been bending the rules to get the job done. This is reminiscent of Ben killing the CIA asset that got him into this situation in the first place. Ben is easy to root for, despite what he did to Reese, but his combat cowboy persona often comes off as short-sighted in Dark Wolf. His downfall was written on the wall in Episode 4 because he's cutting corners and not protecting himself the way that Rafe and most others with their elite military background would. Episode 4 makes it clearer than ever that Ben's disdain for protocol is what led him down that dark road that brought him to betray his best friend. Additionally, more of Ben's cracks are beginning to show in Dark Wolf Episode 4, adding context and evidence that he's just going to do what he wants most of the time, always prone to taking the option that offers more freedom and control. Rafe's suspicions also alluded to Eliza, which turned out to be spot on. However, Ben didn't heed his caution, which nearly got him killed. If this prequel proves anything about Ben, it's that his inherent arrogance has paved his solitary path forward. Dark Wolf's riveting action scenes keep the prequel afloat. Dar Salim as Mo looking in thought while in a room with his army gear on in The Terminal List, Dark Wolf. The Terminal List, Dark Wolf looks and feels a lot like the Paramount Plus series starring Michael Fassbender, The Agency, with more heavy-duty action set pieces. The one-take shootout at the end of Episode 4 was visually spectacular, well-coordinated, and highly entertaining, even if it was a bit brief. These types of scenes are exactly what a series like this needs, especially if it's not going to be the Ben Edwards character study that many viewers may have expected. There's a pretty epic pre-mission montage backed by Tool's hit song Sober, which makes up for some of the lapses in tension and plot construction throughout the episode. One scene with a creepy Landry must have been tossed in to raise suspicion of his infidelity to the cause, taking it off of Eliza. Otherwise, it just felt plain unnecessary and much more filler than thriller. With only 3 episodes left, Dark Wolf is shaping up to be a pretty run-of-the-mill spy thriller, which is equally fun but underwhelming. I had initially thought there would be a lot of interplay going on between The Terminal List and Dark Wolf, especially regarding the dynamic between Ben and Reese, which was so integral to the first series. Instead, Dark Wolf stands on its own like its title implies and doesn't even require viewers to have seen the original.